COPPA. We all know about it. We all, unfortunately, don't want to witness it. And unfortunately, this had to happen. So, I recently researched off of COPPA and all this stuff so I can make this video for you guys and creators who need to know more, because I feel like there's a lot of information that's not put into this. And so, some of y'all may not know, but what is COPPA? COPPA stands for the Children's Online Protection and Privacy Act. It was a law made in 1998 that was created to protect the privacy of children under the age of 13. And it was applied to websites like Neopets, Roblox. Now it's being applied to social media like YouTube. I'm sorry if I'm looking more at my screen. I have a huge doc that I like to read off because I summarized half of the stuff I'm going to talk about. So we all basically know that YouTube and Google were fined $170 million by the FTC for collecting data on children to serve personal ads. For example, you could legit search like computers on Google. Google would collect that data, send it to YouTube, and then YouTube would show personal ads of computers that might be just for you. So basically, tagged ads. So in the agreement, YouTube had to provide an option for its creators to tell if their videos are for kids or not for kids. And so, why are creators in a panic? Well, legal liability now lies on the creators rather than YouTube. And so, people have said that fines can add up to at least $42,000 per video, but what they also didn't explain, that's the maximum fine amount. The FTC has considered some penalties that could impact the ability of creators and businesses to stay in business. For example, you cannot just give a small creator a $42,000 fine off of, 3 videos if they're only making an income of $5K. I have found it interesting, and I was on Try Guys, and I was watching all this, and so this is what Susan Wojcicki had to say on how the effects of monetization will be for those who make videos for kids.
That's going on.
I see. And between choosing to lose monetization by complying with YouTube's new FTC guidelines or risking getting fined directly by the FTC, the decision is resting entirely in the creator's hands, which many see as an unfair and impossible situation.
And also, just to be clear, is not that the content will be demonetized. Mm-hmm. That's a different topic we can talk about.
Gotcha.
It will still be monetized, and there will still be advertising. There will just be a different kind, and creators can expect less advertising revenue.
But essentially, those who have the made-for-kids content will see some sort of hit in the monetization in terms of their revenue.
They will see a reduction in their ad revenue that they're generating, and they will see features that are no longer enabled on that content, mm-hmm. on the video or on the channel, depending upon how they designated their content.
So yes, there will be an effect on creators' income, but demonetization won't happen unless you do follow COPPA's guidelines. So another thing I found interesting is that YouTube is also trying to keep family channels and channels for kids on YouTube by opening a fund for those channels. And here's another clip of Susan talking about that.
If I can't collect any data on you.
Mm-hmm. If much of the compliance with the FTC is unavoidable and true, what would you say to compel a kid's content creator to stay on the platform?
We really see how incredible the content is that has been made by so many creators, that has been directed to kids and kids content. We have tens of millions of kids on our YouTube Kids app watching that content. And we hear so much good feedback from families, from kids themselves about how this has really made their lives better, enriched their lives in different ways. And so we are very committed to doing what we can, given the frameworks of the law, to be able to support content creators. Again, we'll continue to work with the FTC to try to figure out what's the best way to update or modify the law. We are looking at ways of doing contextual advertising. So, for example, advertisers who want to reach families, there are advertisers and there are ways for that to work, not using targeted advertising. And we also have a $100 million fund that we are doing over 3 years to support the family creators and other made-for-kids type of content.
So that's news to me. I've never heard about that.
Yeah. We announced that.
What I'm about to say is not.
So YouTube knows the effects of COPPA and the effects it will take on family channels and channels for kids that use YouTube as like a main job. COPPA's not to hurt creators or businesses. That's not their goal. But COPPA will affect all creators due to the popularity of YouTube and the kid audience, which will affect your income, like I said. My research on the FTC. So what I found out is that the FTC doesn't want to take down 1,000 channels because that's not their goal. They want to catch people who dress up as Disney princesses and characters for malpractice, or to catch the child's eye and make them click on the video. Some creators have said that adding profanity in the video or disclaimers in the description will save you. This will not save you. It also applies to USTOS. So according to Susan, the reason YouTube was fined in the first place was that the main YouTube was used more by children than YouTube kids, even though they mentioned that YouTube main is recommended for 13-year-olds and higher. We can't use that excuse. We can't use that either. Some creators have talked about getting a mixed audience option. So mixed audience has been it's a thing, but it's been mainly used for websites that receive a teen audience and a children's audience. YouTube has decided not to allow that option because it's extremely difficult in many ways. So the mixed audience option would say, and this is how I think, is it's basically an inferring of, you know, that your audience is made of a portion of it's made of a portion of kids, so like a 25% portion of kids, and like the rest of your audience is teens or above that, which means that your content needs to be assumed as children's content, even though in the majority of your audience is teens. Like I said, that's what coming from my mouth. That's what I thought. But keep in mind, if you do make content that's aimed for 13-year-olds and higher, and some kids watch your content, that's not a COPPA violation, so you don't have to worry. The FTC also treats YouTube as our third-party data collector. I found this quite interesting when looking at this and all that stuff. And so basically, a third-party collector has a direct relationship with the person who hired them. That's the person who pays them, so they know everything that third-party collector is doing on placing ads. But this logic doesn't support YouTube because we don't have a direct relationship with YouTube. Google would be more of that demonstration. Google would be the third-party data collector, and YouTube would use that from Google, put in Google AdSense, gets ads, and then throws them onto videos. So they control all that. Us, the creators, don't. Which is also confusing when it's which is confusing how COPPA is being applied to YouTube. The FTC didn't force YouTube to stop notification of comments from kids' content. So y'all know recently that there used to be pedophiles in children's contents. I think it's still going on, but they had to disable comments for children's videos. I may have seen it for some of my videos, but YouTube has finally decided just to stop notifications, recommended videos, and comments on kids' content, because if they can't collect the data on the child, to be able to remember subscriptions, recommended videos, and comments, they have to collect data from that account. So since COPPA won't allow YouTube to collect that type of data, then they can't do anything. Some people said that parents should be responsible for their kids on YouTube. That only applies if the child is using the parent's account. Yeah, that's the parent's responsibility. Now, this rule doesn't apply if the child is logged out of the account and their data is still being collected, because there's no way of YouTube knowing that that's a kid watching off of that device. So, some main issues with COPPA that I found, and I also was like watching Dan Tinier's video, and he even stated his issues, that the only way the FTC could present a case against a creator is if there was clear-cut evidence that it's data being collected from that child. The COPPA can't be used as a violation since analytics show if a creator's audience is mainly children or teens, especially if creators make family-friendly content. So, the solution, so the interesting thing is, when I found out the solution, I thought this was a pretty good solution. So, Dan went on Neopets, typed in Neopets, he made an account for a 9-year-old, and it asked for the parent's email and all that stuff. And I'll let Dan explain that real quick.
Apologies for the lighting change. I actually am re-recording the outro to this video with the solution that should be implemented to solve this entire COPPA issue, because I think I've got it, and I'm really confused as to why it hasn't been implemented already. So hear me out. So I'm going to use the example that I've been referring to for the previous sections of this video, which is Neopets, a site essentially designed for kids, but could be used by anyone. So I tried to create a new account, and when it asked for my age, I tried to put my age in as a 9-year-old. And then when I clicked next, I was taken to another screen, which then asks me to put in my parents' email account. Now, the reason for this is that Neopets will then send an authorization email to the parent for them to give permission for them to use Neopets or not. So if authorized, that all goes through, the child can log in using an under 13's account, and then the whole browsing experience is tailored because Neopets knows that that user is a child. And the reason that Neopets does that is because they have to comply to COPPA. So my question is, why wasn't this the solution that was suggested to YouTube by the FTC? As it stands right now, the FTC and Google, as part of their settlement for the fine, suggested that it should be us, the creators of the content that go on the website, not the people that actually collected the data from the children, that it should fall as our legal responsibility to declare whether our videos are made for kids or not. This is without us knowing anything about our audiences apart from the ages of them 13 and older, having no evidence for this, which poses an issue for us and for the FTC as well if they decided to try and make a case against any of us, and just makes things way more complicated than it should be.
So I kind of understand what scene Dan is going, that YouTube should take the liability and all that stuff, that why YouTube had to throw us, the creators, under the bus. And yeah, and it just, it doesn't make sense. It's all that, but hopefully sooner in the future, we'll understand, get it cleared up and all that stuff. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, I'm actually recording this on a Wednesday. Hopefully this is coming out on a Wednesday. And yeah, and so I need to go ahead and do these shout-outs so we can get going. Go subscribe to Salted Caramel. Go watch the interview with Susan Wojcicki, CEO of YouTube, on the Try Guys channel, and go watch the COPPA video off of Dan TDM's channel. They will all be in the link description below. Go subscribe to NBN. That's where I work. I'm clearly in the NBN office right now and all that stuff. Yeah, more and more stuff is up. We are coming close to our channel anniversary. That's super nice, and I'm glad it's happening. But yeah, make sure to subscribe, like the video, click that bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.